You know, it's so crazy to me because when I think back to the beginning of this pandemic, you know, there was a time when they were like, don't mask. And now we've come all the way to you need to wear this specific type of mask. So let's talk about what they're recommending now. And how do we know if the ones we're ordering really are that level?
Right. So honestly, at this point, there is not an official recommendation from the CDC that says to upgrade the mask, although we know that they have been saying that they're going to come out with updated recommendations. What we're talking about is the rumblings amongst physicians and scientists and the general community and, you know, other healthcare folks saying, hey, Omicron is here. Let's up the ante. And I agree with that. You want to wear the best mask you can. What I would say is if you only have a cloth mask, make sure it's at least 2 or 3 layers ideally. But the better is the N95, the KN95 or KF94 mask. Those are going to be even better than the cloth masks.
What is the difference between the N95 and the KN95?
Yeah, so the N95 is the mask that is certified by NIOSH, the National Institutes of Occupational Safety and Health here in the United States. The KN95 is like the Chinese version of the N95, and the KF94 is the Korean version. That 94 or 95 number, that indicates how much filtration there is. So with our N95s, for example, it's supposed to filter out at least 95% of the airborne particles. And so you can see amongst all 3 of them, that is relatively similar. It filters out a lot of airborne particles, which is very important.
We actually ordered a bunch of that KF94 version that you talked about. How important is getting the right size, though? Because I ordered small, medium, and large just so we could try them on and see which ones fit best.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea, actually, because fit is really key here. If your mask doesn't fit well, it's not going to filter and keep you protected and other people, no matter what mask it is. So you want the fit to be right. You want the fit to be good. And that really does matter. I want to mention there's a couple of organizations. There's project95.org, because you mentioned buying masks online. A lot of people worry about counterfeit or fake masks, and that is a big problem. There's a ton of them that have flooded the market. You want to try to get the most legitimate non-fake mask as possible. Project95.org is an organization that will let you know reputable retailers. And I also recently put up a post on my blog at drjencaudle.com, sort of walking people through how to find out or figure out if your mask is counterfeited, things like that, and how to find good ones. 2
important questions I want to get in. One is, you know, cloth masks are cost effective because you can wash them and use them over and over again.
Yes.
You can't do that with these. So how many times can you wear one of these masks? How often do you need to change it out?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So to be honest with you, let's focus on the N95. I mean, in the strictest sort of definition of N95s, they're really only intended for single use, using once and being done. Now, we know that's not entirely practical in this world of COVID. First of all, we had shortages of PPE in the beginning. The public couldn't even get N95s. Doctors didn't even have enough for themselves. I think it's a reasonable strategy at this point. The CDC does have recommendations for healthcare providers about how to extend the use, maybe using your N95 for approximately 5 uses, store it in a brown paper bag in between, and maybe rotate your N95. So one day you wear, this is what I do, wear one N95 one day, another one the next day. When you swap out the one you've worn, put it in the paper bag and sort of rotate them. 5 uses or so is probably a decent guideline for when it's time to kind of pull them out of rotation. Of course, if the mask gets visibly soiled, dirty, things like that, you want to pull it out of rotation as well. But I don't think it's unreasonable to reuse them given the times that we're living in.
And here's my final question, because this was a big discussion at our house. How many do I need to order? Because you know, because I mean, is this a forever thing that I need to just keep restocking, or, you know, it's tough
to know. I mean, the truth be told, truth be told is it's tough to know, right? We didn't think that we would be in this situation. We thought that we would never have to, hopefully we would never have to say to people wear N95s, but we've been in that situation. I mean, it's honestly one of these things where, and this is where my public service announcement of everyone getting vaccinated, getting boosted, wearing masks and social distancing and using precautions, the more that we all do as the public to try to stem this curve and tide, that's going to help us all so that you're not, and the rest of us are not wondering how long we have to keep buying N95 masks. For right now, though, it's wise with Omicron and the fact that cases are still high. This is the right thing to do right now. So I'm glad to hear you're doing that with your family. But hopefully this will go away soon. We just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I hit the recurring order button, just so you know. Dr. Jen Caudle, thank you. Thank you so much. Always appreciate your information and insight. And there's all her information if you want to look up more or you have questions for her yourself. Marissa?
Yeah, very good.